In this WrestleTalk news, MJF's AEW Return, 2 AEW stars have been signed to contract extensions, and my review of SmackDown. Subscribe and enable notifications to Always On for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
Another of the biggest wrestling news stories of the year that has been effectively put on the back burner recently has been MJF's tumultuous relationship with All Elite Wrestling, with MJF walking out of the company on the post-Double or Nothing episode of AEW Dynamite after calling Tony Khan a mark on live TV. However, now it appears we could be getting the next chapter in this very complicated story. Dave Meltzer reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that MJF is currently scheduled to be returning somewhat soon, but noted that the exact time of the return is not currently known. Meltzer writes that negotiations for a new TV deal will likely be taking place in just a few months and into next spring, and as a result, AEW needs all hands on deck. Dave also notes that given the nature of MJF's exit in Los Angeles, that would tell you Punk versus MJF was the plan at the time for MJF's return. Of course, a lot has changed since then, including very recently, with fans still waiting to see how next week's AEW World Championship unification match between CM Punk and interim champ Jon Moxley plays out. Some fans have theorized that the match being moved up to Dynamite is to make room for a CM Punk versus MJF match at All Out in Chicago, although that is completely speculative. Things have been completely silent on the MJF front until this report as well, with Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select reporting on August 3rd that MJF had effectively vanished from the wrestling scene, with no one in AEW admitting to hearing from him since his departure. There has been plenty of talk of late about WWE attempting to steal away talent from All Elite Wrestling, but for now we know of two dudes who won't be making the jump anytime soon. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select has reported that Jericho Appreciation Society and 2.0 members Daddy Magic Matt Menard and Cool Hand Angelo Parker have been signed to contract extensions with AEW. It was not specified as to how long their new contracts will keep them with the company. The report says that the duo have received high praise from their peers for being great to work with, and they have obviously taken on much larger roles in the company over the last 12 months. The pair had previously wrestled in NXT as Ever-Rise before being released last year and making the jump to AEW on August 4th, 2021, where they started as goofball enhancement guys before coming into their own as a full-fledged act alongside Daniel Garcia and then Chris Jericho. Matt Menard has been doing commentary as of late while he recovers from an injury, while Angelo Parker has continued to be used on TV, being viciously attacked by Ricky Steamboat on this week's episode of Dynamite. Now a hot tag over to me for SmackDown.
Before we get on with the rest of the episode, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to this video's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends! Raid Shadow Legends, the dark fantasy RPG that brings a true console-level experience to your phone, which you can download for free by clicking our link in the description below. And even after 3 years of playing Raid, I must say, I'm more into the game than ever. Ha 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 ha! It is a clever pun, because here I am fighting your bravest champions. You can't defeat, stop doing that! That hurts! Here's my top 3 most badass champions that you could use to overthrow me. Number 3, Cardial, because he's what I see when I look at Kenny Omega. At number 2, Pumpkin King Finn Balor. And at number 1, everyone's favorite jobber, Death Knight, who, because of popular demand, is finally becoming a legendary champion this month. Raid, listen to their players. You are the authority. And that's not all for August, as Raid has a non-stop schedule of special events, including Forge Pass Season 3 with a limited edition artifact set, some new champions, and new skins for the incredible Madam Ceres. This is the best time to get started in Raid, and if you click my link in the description below or scan my QR code on screen now, you'll get unique bonuses worth $30. We're talking free epic champion Tyrell, 200,000 silver, 1 energy refill, 1 XP boost, and 1 ancient shard so you can summon awesome champions as soon as you get in game. All this treasure will be waiting for new players here for the next 30 days. Please do at least click the link to check the game out, as it really helps support us here at WrestleTalk. Raid that raid.
Thanks for the hot tag, me. This is my review of SmackDown in about 5 minutes. We opened the 1200th episode of SmackDown with Ronda Rousey walking right through commentary's camera shot and calling out Adam Pearce, who came out and said lifting Ronda's suspension is above his pay grade. I need to know what the hierarchy of WWE management is on these shows. Ronda's ordered to leave, and when she doesn't, she gets arrested and taken away while telling Pearce he has a nice haircut. He does. You know, I think Pete, Luke, and Lori have all modeled themselves after him. The crowd was into Ronda, and as she drove off, Roman Reigns arrived at the building building. A nice camera shot, and I like the little details. 3 out of 5. The opening match was the Women's Tag Team Championship Tournament match, pitting Sonya Deville and Natalya against Zoe Stark and Nikita Lyons. Or it would have been, but Zoe reportedly has a concussion, and Nikita, well, she was just medically unavailable. SmackDown was in Canada this week. Moving on. Instead, they were replaced by Toxic Attraction, who probably should have been in the tournament from the jump. And this was a weird double heel match with both teams getting cheered at different times. Toxic Attraction because they're new, and Natalya because she does the Canada. This was a bit clunky in parts, but they had the added benefit of Bayley harassing Michael Cole from the front row. I have missed Bayley so much. The match also had a very good finish, with JC Jane getting a blind tag and rolling up Natty as she put on the sharpshooter. It was just well executed, and I liked it a lot. 3 out of 5. Sami Zayn then walks past Isaiah Bronson, you know, the guy that beat the shit out of me training for Quizlemania 22. Love to see you getting a break, big man. Sami talks to Roman Reigns in a great segment. Sami gets Roman to say that the Usos are ungrateful, and Roman has Sami answer his phone with Jey Uso saying they're stuck at the border. Roman gives a great performance and tells Sami to tell Kevin Owens that he doesn't owe anyone anything. Love that this thread is still being pulled on. Maximum Male Models came out for a scheduled appearance, but they are interrupted by Hit Row, who dump them to the outside and perform a song called We Back. I love how Hit Row's WWE Return is basically beat for beat their NXT introduction, which is like what the transition from developmental to the main roster is supposed to be. Top Dollar got some bars in there as well, and this is a really great, unique presentation for WWE, and now builds to a match for and continues to introduce Hit Row to the SmackDown audience. 4 out of 5. Then we got the Fatal 5-Way match to determine the #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship, featuring Sheamus, Ricochet, Baron Corbin, Madcap Moss, and Sami Zayn, who got a hero's welcome complete with Olay chants. Everyone got heat by hitting Sami, and Michael Cole said Sami looked like El Generico, which is surreal on so many levels. Michael Cole knows the name El Generico, but doesn't know that Generico is building orphanages in other countries, and definitely isn't Sami Zayn. Sami was the MVP of this match, pulling out a big plancha, Michinoku driver, and Blue Thunderbomb, all while getting a really special reaction. There was always something happening in this match, and Sami did an injury angle which sucked some of the life out of the crowd until he made a heroic return like the babyface he should always be. Sami got a great near fall on Ricochet after a haluva kick, but Sheamus hit Corbin with the brogue kick for the win. This was about as good a match as SmackDown has had all year, and a great way to set up what should be a very physical match at Clash at the Castle between Sheamus and Walter. Love to see it. 5 out of 5. We had the latest WWE return under Triple H, as Sarah Logan was reportedly involved in the Viking funeral, painting the Viking Raiders' faces while they pontificated about being the end of the New Day and the start of a new Viking day. This was goofy, but it wasn't that long and it wasn't filled with jargon, so I think it's fine. And honestly, I would really like to see Sarah Logan as just part of this act. Why not? Liv Morgan took on Shotzi, who still doesn't have her tank. So no tank. Can't do too many takes of that, I'll break my phone. Unfortunately, this was the match that goes like a minute before commercial, comes back, goes 1 more minute, and then they do the finish. It was fine, there just wasn't anything to it, with Liv getting the win with her finish before Shayna Baszler laid her out after the match. 2 out of 5. And then we got our main event segment as Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre went face to face. Roman says he is the main event, and anyone else who says they are the main event is lying. Drew says Roman doesn't deserve to be champion, and it may shock you to learn that Roman Reigns did not take this well. Drew said Roman is politically aligned and has the bloodline behind him, but Roman isn't in God mode, he's just a man. Roman and Drew had a short brawl, and then Drew went for a Claymore, but Sami Zayn flew in from out of nowhere to take the bullet for Roman Reigns before Drew managed to hit Roman with a kick as well. The Sami Zayn Roman Reigns layer of this storyline has been one of the most interesting aspects of WWE storytelling this year, and it's really recaptured some of the magic that the Roman Reigns Uso storyline had in 2020 and 2021, with the focus on more subtle, nuanced storytelling. I was hoping for a bit more out of the promo, maybe a bit more akin to the fire we saw from Drew on Raw, but this was still a perfectly acceptable way to cap off what was the best SmackDown of the Triple H era so far. A 4 out of 5 main event segment, and a 4 out of 5 show as well. No review of Rampage this week, unfortunately, as I am just a one-man show today, but you can hear our full thoughts on the show later today on the WrestleTalk podcast, as Adam and I break down both Rampage and SmackDown in complete detail. Until then, I've been Tempest, and that was wrestling.
In this WrestleTalk news, CM Punk AEW Heat, WWE mass releases talent and is closing down NXT UK, plus so much more.